Making America great again hasn't just been a human story. It was a mission carried out by the nation's very symbol, the bald eagle. These birds didn't just sit proudly on the Great Seal. They were right there on the front lines, fighting in battle, and later suffering the high costs of the very people they were meant to protect. Steps to become a national icon. The story begins on July 4th, 1776. Right after the Declaration of Independence was passed, a committee of the greatest minds, including Benjamin Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, and John Adams, was formed to design a national seal. However, finding a single symbol to represent the original 13 colonies was much harder than we imagine today. For 6 long years, 3 different committees failed to devise a design that everyone liked. Some ideas were deeply rooted in religion, while others were heavily inspired by European mythology. But they all lacked that unique spirit of the wild and proud North American frontier. It wasn't until 1782 that Charles Thomson, the Secretary of Congress, had a breakthrough. He decided to take elements from previous designs, but placed a brand new image at the very center, the native bald eagle. Thomson drew a simple yet powerful sketch of an eagle with its wings spread wide. In one talon, it held an olive branch, symbolizing peace. In the other, it gripped 13 arrows, representing military strength and a readiness to fight. On the 20th of June 1782, the Continental Congress officially approved this design, placing the bald eagle at the heart of the Great Seal of the United States. Biologically speaking, the bald eagle was the perfect choice. It's the only eagle species found exclusively in North America. It has a majestic look, with its striking white head contrasting against a dark brown body and piercing eyes with vision 4 times sharper than a human's. This choice carried deep political weight. It sent a clear message. This new nation wouldn't borrow symbols from old European dynasties. Instead, it would stand tall on its own 2 wings. However, not everyone was on board with this choice. And the most vocal critic was the legendary Benjamin Franklin. In a famous letter to his daughter, Franklin expressed his deep disappointment, claiming the bald eagle had bad moral character. He argued that they were lazy. Instead of hunting for themselves, they'd often steal fish from smaller birds like ospreys. He even compared the eagle to a dishonest man and suggested that the wild turkey was a much more respectable candidate. Sure, the turkey might look a bit silly, but Franklin saw it as a true bird of courage that wouldn't hesitate to attack a whole regiment of British redcoats if they dared to invade its territory. Despite Franklin's sharp wit and sarcasm, the bald eagle stood its ground on the national seal, on currency, and on every diplomatic document, becoming a firm statement of American sovereignty to the entire world. The impact of this decision was massive. It created a unified visual identity, giving a nation with diverse cultures and religions a common symbol to rally behind. But that symbol didn't just sit still on cold bronze seals or paper bills. It stepped onto the battlefield, soaked in gunpowder and the heat of war, to write some of the most heroic and tragic chapters in the nation's history. Old Abe, the warrior with immortal wings. When the American Civil War broke out in 1861, tearing the country in two, the bald eagle appeared once again, but this time in the flesh, as a legend named Old Abe. A hunter named Amongi Sheik from the Ojibwe tribe caught him as a fledgling and later sold him to the soldiers of the 8th Wisconsin Volunteer Infantry for just $2.50. The soldiers named him after President Abraham Lincoln and made him the regiment's official mascot. Old Abe was no ordinary pet. He was trained to perch on a special wooden stand and was carried right next to the regimental colors during every march and into the thick of the most brutal battles. The presence of Old Abe on the battlefield had a staggering psychological impact. Every time the cannons roared and the air filled with thick smoke, the eagle would flap his massive wings and let out his signature, piercing scream, as if he were charging into battle alongside the soldiers. He took part in a total of 37 battles and skirmishes, including some of the bloodiest campaigns like Vicksburg and Corinth. The Confederate soldiers viewed Old Abe as an enemy just as dangerous as a talented general. Confederate General Sterling Price even ordered his men to capture or kill the bird at all costs, famously calling him that damned Yankee buzzard, because he believed the eagle's presence gave the Union troops an incredible boost in morale. Miraculously, despite having his feathers clipped by stray bullets several times, Old Abe survived the war. He became a national hero, parading across the country to raise funds for wounded veterans and their families. The story of Old Abe deeply etched the image of the bald eagle into the American military psyche as a symbol of courage and absolute loyalty. His significance went far beyond being a mere mascot. He became a cultural bridge, connecting soldiers to the ideals of freedom they fought to protect. After Old Abe passed away, his image became the direct inspiration for the famous Screaming Eagle, insignia of the 101st Airborne Division, the very same paratroopers who jumped into Normandy during World War II to liberate Europe. Old Abe's impact on American culture was so powerful that it transformed the bald eagle from an abstract symbol on paper into a living, breathing entity that sacrificed and fought for the nation's destiny. He reinforced the belief that the American spirit is something that can never be broken, no matter how many guns are pointed its way. But even after surviving the enemy's guns, the bald eagle faced a silent and far more dangerous foe, one born from human industrial progress. This new enemy threatened to permanently wipe this national icon from the blue skies forever, from the brink of extinction to a symbol of the future. After its glory on the battlefield and its firm place in the nation's heart, the bald eagle suddenly faced its most devastating survival crisis in natural history during the mid-20th century. The culprit was a chemical called DDT, a miracle pesticide widely used to protect crops after World War II. At the time, people had no idea that DDT was silently seeping into the water and into the fish, the eagle's primary food source. It caused a biological nightmare. It made eagle eggshells so thin and brittle that they would crumble the moment the mother bird sat down to incubate them. By 1963, the bald eagle population in the lower 48 states hit a record low, with fewer than 500 nesting pairs remaining. The very symbol of American power was on the verge of vanishing forever. This was the moment American history witnessed a massive shift in environmental awareness, sparked by Rachel Carson's 1962 book, Silent Spring. The fact that the national mascot was on the verge of vanishing became a huge political and cultural wake-up call, forcing the U.S. government to take action. In 1973, the Endangered Species Act was passed, and the bald eagle was one of the very first species placed under its strictest protection. Scientists, nature lovers, and politicians joined forces in an unprecedented revival campaign from a total ban on DDT to habitat restoration and captive breeding programs. This wasn't just about biology. It was a test of American pride. People realized that if they couldn't save their own symbolic bird, then all their talk of freedom and strength would mean nothing. The result of that persistent effort is one of the most miraculous comeback stories in the history of global conservation. By 2007, the bald eagle was officially taken off the endangered species list, with its population soaring to tens of thousands. Its return to the skies wasn't just a scientific victory. It became a new symbol of an America that knows how to correct its mistakes and protect the core values of nature. Today, the image of the bald eagle stretches from deep space. With the Apollo 11 mission and Neil Armstrong's famous words, "The eagle has landed," to the everyday lives of citizens, it now carries a new meaning, a symbol of resilience and the balance between progress and preservation. The impact of this journey on American politics and culture is priceless. It gave birth to the modern environmental movement and reshaped how Americans view their responsibility to the planet. It proves that the wings of freedom can only soar when nurtured in a healthy and sustainable world. So, does the life and the extraordinary spirit of Old Abe surprise, move, or inspire you? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Also, don't forget to suggest any topics you're curious about, whether it's more secrets of the natural world or the amazing creatures all around us. We'll continue our journey in the next videos. Goodbye for now, and see you soon.